and I'm the editor, creator, and producer of what you're watching right now, Blade Talk. If you are new here, welcome, and you find this presentation helpful, informative, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. Do me an even greater favor and subscribe to my channel. Always appreciate all the support that I am given. So, it's been a long time, and it is so good to be back. Thank you all that have asked about me, checked in with me, seeing how the move was going and whatnot. I will get a tour of my new place soon, and keep you all posted on other changes. I recently got a new job. I recently got a new vehicle. So Hashem has blessed me in so many ways. But in this presentation, what I want to do is address some of your questions that you all have left me, and there have been many. I won't get to all of them today, but I will definitely try my best in the near future to address the others that I don't get to in this presentation. So if you're interested, let's hit that intro and let's begin. All right, so I want to jump right into the questions that I've been asked, and hopefully in the next presentation, maybe the one after the next one, I'll have my studio all set up and everything, and we'll have a better mic and the lighting and all that. But for this presentation, you all just bear with me. The first question that I got was, hey Blade, I hope the move went great. It did. It was a lot of work, but here's my question. Have you seen Rabbi Tovia Singer debate Christians? Tovia is electric. Would you ever debate a well-spoken Christian like Charlie Kirk or Matt Walsh? I believe you'd win. Well, thank you for the vote of confidence. I've seen some of Rabbi Tovia Singer's presentations that he puts out, and he is an amazing rabbi. And with all due respect to him and what he's doing, there's certain aspects that I don't necessarily agree with, because like most Orthodox Jews, they pretty much cater to Jews only. And what I try to do is teach the world about Judaism. And what I mean by this is, again, he's a wealth of knowledge. You know, he's amazing. He's phenomenal. Knows more about Jewish history and Christianity that I probably will ever know. And I respect him as a rabbi, absolutely. But my thing is he tears down people who believe in Christianity. And when you do that, when you have that sort of impact on people, you have to give them something to fall back on. And what I've seen, at least from what I've heard from Rabbi Tovia Singer, is that his mission, his whole goal is to try to save Jewish people. So it's specifically an anti-missionary kind of movement, and he's trying to prevent Jews from joining Christianity. And my thing is I want to be for the world. I want to present Judaism in a way that it is accessible to everyone. And I don't believe in stripping someone of their faith. You have Christians that have been Christians for 20, 30, 40 plus years. And if you decide to teach someone and tear down everything that they believe in, if you're not careful, you'll end up producing an atheist. So you have to have You have to give them something to fall back on. Now, from what I understand, he promotes the Noahide laws. So forget Christianity and just be a Noahide and you'll be good. But my question, my pushback on that would be, why not encourage them to be Jewish? I mean, why not? And I'm sure Rabbi Tovia Singer's response would be, well, you don't have to be Jewish, or he's targeting Jews specifically to prevent them from joining Christianity. But my thing is I feel like Judaism should be for anyone that wants to join the tribe. If you're going to engage in with a Christian or a Muslim, then make sure that you're giving them a better alternative. And for me personally, I feel that that is Judaism. Offer them the chance, the opportunity to be Jewish. And I know that goes against the grain because people will say, well, Jews don't proselytize. And in that respect, I take Rabbi Asher Meza's response. It hasn't been the norm, but I think that being Jewish is the best way to live. And I don't negate the fact that Christians, the ones that are religious, do a lot of good in this world. And I would hate to strip someone of their whole belief system without giving them something to fall back on. So again, Rabbi Tovia Singer is amazing. I've read some of his books. I've watched some of his debates. I have personally no interest in debating at this time, just because for me, my goal right now is to build my channel, and in a way that I don't want to win people over by my debate skills. My goal is to be the largest Black conservative content creator on this platform. Now, once I've achieved that goal, then maybe I can exchange in discussions. I don't even want to go as far as to say debates. I'm willing to have a healthy discussion. But again, you know, when that time comes, then absolutely, I'll be more than happy to discuss anything with anyone, anywhere. I've never been afraid to talk to anyone. But my thing, again, with Rabbi Tovia Singer is with most Orthodox Jews, I'm not picking on them at all. It's just they target Jews specifically, and then to the non-Jews, you just stay over there and follow the Noahide laws, and you'll be fine. No, why not offer them Judaism? I am of the belief that if more people were Jewish at the time of prior to World War II, and I believe that the Holocaust would have never happened. Because the more people that you get to become Jewish, the more opportunities for families to say, no, I have a cousin, I have an uncle, I have, extended family, immediate family, whoever that is Jewish, and they'll start to actually care about Jewish issues and things like that. So for me, I want to promote Judaism in a way that is accessible to everyone, and I'm not just looking for quote unquote lost Jews to return them back to the fold. Absolutely, I'm hoping secular Jews become more religious, become more observant, etc., etc. But Jews, we're stubborn, right? So if I have a choice between trying to bring someone who is Jewish but doesn't want to adhere to any of the mitzvot, or doesn't want to observe Shabbat, nothing, don't want to have anything to do with Judaism, and I have a non-Jew that is begging and itching and clawing to have a close relationship with Hashem, then I'm going to choose them every time. Ideally, you'd want both. But, for me personally, I want to encourage people to have a meaningful, deep relationship with Hashem, and I feel being Jewish is the way to do it. Hope that answers your question. All right, next question. Hey Blake, congrats on the move. Glad to see you back on YouTube. Thank you. My question, what are your thoughts on agnostic/atheist Jews? I read that a large portion of U.S. Jews are non-religious, non-believers, but still observe holidays. So my immediate reaction to Jews that are agnostic, atheists, is that it's sad. It's very sad, because I think that the greatest threat to Judaism isn't Christianity. It isn't even Islam. I believe it's atheism. I have never met a Jew that didn't have an atheist in their family. And I think that it is a dangerous mindset. The idea that you won't adhere to anyone else's authority but your own. The idea that you're going to pull morality or ethics from yourself based on just how you feel that day is dangerous. And I don't think that it is a great way to live. So when I encounter someone who is agnostic or atheist, the first thing I ask them is, have you read the Torah? That's where I typically tend to start. I encourage them to read the Torah, because I think many people have it backwards. Some people, I dare to say most people, fall in love with God, and then they fall in love with the Torah. I think that's backwards. You should read the Torah first and then fall in love with God. I believe personally in Hashem. I believe in God because of the Torah. I don't believe in the Torah because of God. That's true for any book. You don't fall in love with an author and then go read the book and fall in love with the book. No, you read a book and then the writing compels you and it's so enticing and it moves you in such a way that you have to find out who that author is, and eventually you fall in love with that author, so to speak. So what I try to do is encourage atheists, agnostics. I never judge, but read the Torah. Just read the Torah, and as I continue to encourage on this channel, just try to be better than who you were yesterday or last year. try to perform a mitzvah. Once you perform that and you develop a routine, try to add on another mitzvah. I never judge anyone because we all have our own battles that we face in life. And I feel like that is what pushes people towards atheists, being atheists and being agnostic. They don't want to deal with the judgment. And some religious individuals are very judgmental, and you don't have to look far to find it. They're in the comments section, they're on social media, acting like they're in the highest moral position. And then they look down on everyone else. My thing is this. I feel like everyone are fighting battles that you don't know about. And everyone's perception of a road that they don't have to walk down is always easy. To someone who doesn't like alcohol, they'll tell an alcoholic, just stop. It's not even that hard. To someone who isn't addicted to drugs, have no desire to do drugs, we'll tell the drug addict, what's wrong with you? Just put it down. What I'm saying is everyone's road is easy when you're not the one going down it. But we all have a weakness. And I believe that the true measure of your character and who you are is your ability to try your hardest to conquer that weakness. I've met Jews, and again, I don't judge anyone. I've met Jews that it's hard for them to not eat pork. And my thing is I challenge them, okay, how about this? Only on Shabbat, don't eat pork that day. Can you do that for me? And then once you master that, can you go 2 days and then 3 days? But there are some that are so quick to condemn. No, the Torah says that you must not eat pork, and you're a shame, and you're not even Jewish, etc., etc. They just want to throw the person completely away to the point where they become atheist, agnostic, because they already feel like a lost cause instead of trying to help them. I always tell atheists and agnostics to read the Torah. And it's not about being perfect. It is about whatever your weakness is. Whatever your weakness is. For example, I don't drink. I don't smoke. So for me, it doesn't mean anything for me to abstain from liquor or nicotine or whatever the case may be. But for something else that I'm addicted to that is bad and it goes against Torah, that is where my challenge lies. And so I tell people whatever challenges that you're going through, and I look at it in 3 distinct ways. There's the first way, which you have some atheists that will break the Torah, desecrate Shabbat, whatever the case may be, just to prove that God doesn't exist. You have some that will do whatever they want to do just because they can, and they don't want to live by anyone's authority but their own. And as I stated, that's a dangerous mindset, because the greatest version of you is the disciplined version of you. The version of you that has parameters, because in those parameters lies your power. That's where greatness happens. Then there's the other side where people miss the mark, and it happens very rarely. I ate a bacon double cheeseburger, and or I didn't give to charity, or whatever the case may be. It happens very rarely. And you do teshuvah, you admit that you missed the mark, and you try to be better the next year. And then there's the other person that is just really having a hard time getting over this challenge. It's just really, really hard, and they're having a difficult time. And so they do teshuvah, and they ask God for forgiveness, but they're honest with themselves and with Hashem that I just really can't get over this. And I know that I'm going to mess up again. I believe that Hashem looks at each one of those individuals differently, as opposed to someone just doing things just out of spite, just because they're hurt, because someone that was judgmental cast judgment on them and threw them away. Why not challenge them to be a better version of who they are? And the best way to do that is to give them the Torah. Hope that answers the question. All right, next question. Hey Blade, do you believe that God wrote the Torah? All right, so short answer is yes. Yes, I believe that Hashem wrote the Torah. But if you'll allow me to expound on that for a minute, because I think that there is some confusion. And this is just my personal belief, okay? When I say that God wrote the Torah, what I mean specifically is the laws. Torah means instructions, the mitzvot. All of the laws: honor your mother and your father, don't steal, don't murder. Those things I believe God wrote. Now, everything else aside from the mitzvot, aside from the laws, are secondary. The splitting of the Red Sea, Noah, the great flood, Abraham, all of the narratives, they're all secondary. And people really think that Moshe Rabbeinu went on top of the mountain and came down with 5 books. And my ancestors, the Jews, are walking through the desert and reading this book as if it's an almanac. Oh, this is what's supposed to happen now. No. In fact, in the Torah, before the Torah is finished, there is a holiday called Chachel, in which the Jews are commanded to read the book of the law, which means that they had a book of the laws before the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, was even complete. So when I say that Hashem wrote the Torah, what I mean is the laws. The laws are from God. Everything else, like the Nevi'im, the Ketuvim, all the narratives and the Chumash, all of that is secondary. It's the laws specifically that came from God. That's what I believe Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the mountain and what he had. I don't think he came with 5 books, and we have to be, again, very careful. I see so many do this, especially in the Orthodox world, and I'm not someone that is big in mysticism, Kabbalah. I don't believe in any of that. The Jewish soul and mysticism and God has reproductive organs and whatnot. I don't believe in all that. I'm a very rational individual. So having said that, I think that Hashem gave instructions on how we are to live, and through those instructions, we gain a close relationship with Hashem. And not only that, we make this world a better place. So the whole goal is to complete the mitzvot and leave this world better than what you found it. And I think that that's what makes Abraham, Moshe Rabbeinu, Noah, all these amazing individuals that are in the Torah, what makes them so amazing is the idea that the Torah doesn't mention heaven and hell. There isn't this idea that if you do good, you'll go to heaven. And if you don't do good, then you'll go to hell, as Islam and Christianity tend to believe. And I think that's on purpose. Because what made Abraham and Moshe Rabbeinu so amazing is that they did good for the sake of doing good. In other words, if you strip away heaven, or whatever reward, if you strip that away, give me a reason why you choose to do good. Why you choose to obey Hashem. If you take away the reward, and it causes you to think, it causes you to grow up, and you come to realize that you give charity to someone that is less fortunate, not because, well, if I do this, then maybe I'll get a new car, maybe I'll get a new house, maybe I'll get some kind of reward. No, it causes you to be realistic and grow up. You give to the less fortunate because it's the right thing to do. And you make this world a better place because you show love and compassion. And you leave your children a world that just may be a little bit better than how you found it through that mitzvah. That's the whole premise. That's the whole idea of it. I think that the Torah purposely leaves out any kind of reward, this notion of heaven, the afterlife that you'll gain. No, our job is to fulfill the mitzvahs, make this world a better place, better than how we found it for the next generation. That's just my personal opinion. Hope that answers the question. All right, next question. Hey Blade, love your channel. Would you ever consider going back to Orthodox? You know, they say never say never, but in this case, it ain't never gonna happen because, and it's nothing against Orthodox, as I stated, I just am more open-minded, and I think that I'm too open-minded for Orthodox. I don't believe in Kabbalah, I don't believe in the Zohar, all of that. They have this habit of thinking that everything came from Har Sinai. The Zohar came from Har Sinai. The Kabbalah, everything came from Har. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. And I'm very happy with conservative Judaism. And as I stated, I feel like it's the best representation of Jewish history. And as I stated, many people forget that in its early stages, Orthodox and conservative Judaism were like this. As a matter of fact, they were both started or founded in the JTS, the Jewish Theological Seminary, which is the flagship of conservative rabbinical seminary, and the Orthodox Union were both founded in essentially the basement of Sharif Israel in New York. As a matter of fact, to dive even deeper into that, the conservative movement and the OU, the conservative movement and the Orthodox Union were literally founded, by the same people. The second chancellor of JTS was a rabbi named Henry Mendez, who was also the founder of the Orthodox Union. So they were very, very close in their beginning stages. The split came in the early 20th century when the idea of halakha being able to adapt, and it was a gradual thing. But for me personally, I believe that conservative Judaism is the best way to practice because it gives the most wide range of opinions. For example, and I think that that's how Judaism always was. You look at the Talmud. See, in Orthodox Judaism, in the Orthodox movement, everyone goes with this consensus. Now, you can know about the minority that didn't make it, but you're not allowed to, it's not permissible to perform it that way as the minority seen it. Everyone goes with the consensus. In conservative Judaism, there is the rabbinical assembly that takes a look at things from a halakhic perspective. Now, people are quick to lump conservative Jews all together, but that is not the case at all. For example, let's take fire on Shabbos. The Orthodox consensus is that you're not allowed to use electricity on Shabbos. Now, there was a minority view that said that you could. Rabbi Shlomo was one of them that said that you could. However, the consensus was that it's forbidden. So now everybody has to follow it. Now, the conservative movement stated that you could use electronics on Shabbos. Electricity doesn't equal fire. But in the ruling, it also mentions the minority opinion that you shouldn't. And some conservative Jews follow the fact that you shouldn't use electricity on Shabbos. Basically, what I'm saying is that both are permitted in conservative Judaism, whereas in Orthodoxy, the consensus rules. Take another example. You have female rabbis. Now, in the Orthodox movement, the consensus was women can't be rabbis. Now, there was a minority that believed that women could. But because the consensus, the majority, stated that women couldn't, that's it. That's the law. That's it. In conservative Judaism, it's well known that women can become rabbis. But if you look at the ruling, again, there are a minority that stated that women shouldn't become rabbis. Now, it's up to each individual community or rabbi to determine what's best for them. And if you look at the Talmud, that is exactly the way things used to be. There's a majority consensus, and then there's a minority. And depending on what it is, it's up to you to determine what's best for you. If you want to side with the minority, okay, you're still Jewish. You're still, part of the community, etc., etc. But what the Orthodox have done is taken the consensus and made it law. And that was true at the time of the Sanhedrin. When the Sanhedrin made a rule, the Torah states that you shall not deviate from the left or to the right of what they command you. But as I've stated before, rabbi is a fairly new term. A rabbi doesn't equal a judge. So it kills me when people say that, well, the conservative Jews, they do this and they do that. Depends on who you're talking to. Because there are some conservative Jews that don't believe women should be rabbis. And they're still conservative. They're still a conservative Jew. There are some conservative Jews that won't drive on Shabbos. I'm one of them. There are some conservative Jews that won't use electricity on Shabbos. The idea is that it is permissible to follow either the majority or the minority, because if we recognize that the Sanhedrin isn't around. So nobody has the authority to say, this is what it is, and that's it. That's the minority. Don't follow that. That's wrong. No one has the authority to make such a ruling. But as I stated, what I love about conservative Judaism is that it gives you the majority, then it gives you the minority, but it lets you decide, because they are humble enough to understand that they don't have the authority to really tell you that a definitive answer. You got to decide for yourself. Whereas the Orthodox movement, it's based on consensus. And if you follow the minority, well, then you're wrong and you're not Orthodox. And that, to me, doesn't work. But as I stated, the same person that founded the Orthodox Union was the second chancellor of the Jewish Theological Seminary. They literally were founded by the same people. Hope that answers the question. All right, last question. Hey Blade, I've been watching your videos on YouTube for quite some time. I've been very inspired by the work and quality you put into creating content about Judaism. I'm currently going through the conversion process within the conservative movement, As an African American, I realize there are not many of us in the Jewish community. My rabbi and I have agreed to set my conversion date sometime in May of this year. I've been attending a conservative shul for a year now and feel very comfortable within the community. Have there been any challenges that you could share with me after going through a conversion process? Well, first and foremost, congratulations. Coming from an Orthodox background into the conservative movement, I will say that, and as a Black man, you really have to prepare everyone in your circle for the life that you're about to take upon yourself. I know that in the Black community, it's sometimes difficult for a community that has been so heavily Christian. And in the Black community, many like to think of being Black as a monolith, the same way some in Judaism like to think that being Jewish is Judaism is a monolith. And you really got to be prepared for that. I will say that racism has nothing on anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is much worse, especially as a Black man, because you get it from all sides. In the Jewish community that I belong to, there are some of the most welcoming, loving, caring people I've ever met in my life. And a lot of the backlash that you'll get is sometimes from your own people. When you're trying to perform mitzvahs, observe Shabbos, abstain from pork, abstain from shellfish, driving on Shabbat, observing Shabbat, etc., many Black people don't understand, and they feel like you've slipped into some cult. And then you have another group of Black people stating that, you're not really Jewish. They won't accept you no matter what you do. And then you have another group that says, no, we're the original Hebrews and the European Jews stole our identity, and, all of this misinformation going on. So I commend you for taking on that challenge, that struggle within itself, because that's hard. So not only will you get anti-Semitism from people that just don't like Jewish people, but you'll also get it sometimes from your own family, your own loved ones, and that is what's going to hurt the most. So if I could tell you anything as a Black man being a conservative Jew, is to be strong and lean into your Jewish community. Again, they're some of the most welcoming people. I mean, it is truly amazing, but you have some that are very close-minded into making it a white and Black thing. It's stupid. The stereotypes, what have you. And then you have other groups of Black people that have slipped into this cult of the Hebrew Israelites. Even if they're not affiliated, they feel like they believe some of the things that they push out. Right? We're the original people. We're the original Jews. We're the and what you're practicing is just from imposters or whatever the case may be. You really gotta be strong if you're Black and Jewish. Not to say that other Jews don't have it, difficult, but because the Black community has fallen into some closed-mindedness. Some are very closed-minded, and others have slipped into cults, and others have, you know, they really try to push group thinking on Black people. And if you go against that group thinking, then you find yourself an outcast. You find yourself being judged, being called names, being talked about behind your back. So the realest and the rawest and the most honest thing that I can tell you about the conversion process is not the process within itself. The process is pretty easy. You are showing that you're sincere and you're establishing publicly that you want this connection with Hashem. The challenge is going to be afterwards. After you convert and you're part of the tribe, how many in the Black community choose to accept it or respect it? Now, I was lucky in the sense that I came from Orthodox Judaism. My grandmother was actually Jewish. My great-grandmother was actually Jewish. So there was already a little bit of that integrated into my family. But even I still get it. You know, you're practicing a white man's religion and all of this craziness. Or you'll hear we're the original people, you know, it's crazy. So prepare yourself for that and be able to stand on what you believe in. Be able to articulate why you're making this decision and to stick with it. And when times get hard and as a Black man, you feel like you're being judged heavily, you're being ridiculed, you know, you're being talked about behind your back, you become the outcast or the black sheep in the family. Lean on your Jewish community, and if all else fails, come back here and see me. That being said, thank you all so much for bearing with me during this move. It is so good to talk to you all again. It is so good to start fresh. I feel like I started 2025 off very well, and things are looking up for me. And I just love doing this. I love getting on this platform and telling you all my views, and to have so many people resonate with it, or even if you learn something, right? There are two takes on when the Mashiach will come in the Talmud. One is at a time when the world is in complete disarray, complete chaos, and everybody is going to war with Israel, and the Mashiach is going to come and be triumphant over all the Israel's enemies, and there will be peace on earth. That's one idea. That's one theory. The other theory is that the Mashiach will come at a time when everything is beautiful and prosperous, and it will be almost peaceful. That's another theory. And if you ask me which one I truly believe, I would choose the theory that the Mashiach is going to come when the world is almost at peace already, which will make his job easier. And the reason that I say that is because every generation before us, as amazing as the sages were, the great scholars were, they failed in one aspect. And that aspect was to bring the Mashiach. The Rambam failed to bring the Mashiach. Rabbi Akiva failed to bring the Mashiach. Rabbi Hillel failed to bring the Mashiach. As amazing as they were. And if I look back on history, the Jewish people's history, during the Crusades, the expulsions, the Holocaust, all these horrible things that has happened to the Jewish people. Even out of all of that emerged amazing teachers, leaders, courageous individuals that really made their mark in the Jewish world. And that to me is beautiful. And now we fast forward and we get to this current time where it seems like people are drifting further and further away from being religious. People don't want to have much to do with God anymore, so to speak. You know, churches are getting smaller in membership. You know, the conservative movement has taken a hit in terms of its membership. And yet through all that, I have faith. And the reason that I have faith is because of you. The idea that you're sitting here watching me, learning about Judaism, learning about my perspective on what it means to be Jewish, whether you agree or disagree. And I want to run an experiment right here, right now. If you've been on this channel before, if I've taught you anything, if I've taught you anything or encouraged you to perform a mitzvah and you actually took me up on it, no matter how small, insignificant it is, if I've given you any kind of advice that you took with you, then I want you to do me a favor and hit that like button. I want you to hit the like button. And if I've touched just one, then that's why I feel like the theory that the Mashiach is going to come at a time when there will be prosperity in the world is true. Because you have to really understand that the people, the generation before us, they were well versed in Torah. They performed mitzvahs. They did all of these amazing things. But they also didn't have the distractions, the challenges that we have today. Cell phones, social media. You know, they were more in groups where it was easier to eat kosher. Now you have Jews all spread out. Makes it a little bit more difficult. But the idea that you still have Jews, even though we're spread out, even through all the distractions, even when anti-Semitism is continuously rising, even through all that, when you still have a Jew out there that is willing to light a candle on Shabbat, or once a year, light the Hanukkah for Hanukkah. even that lets me know that there is hope for the future. And as I stated, the idea, the goal, is to leave this world a little better than you found it. When my time comes, I don't want people to talk about my military history. It's not important. What I did for a living, it's not important. The certificates, the medals, the ribbons, it's not important. I want to be remembered by helping someone. And if I helped even one person, then my life hasn't been in vain. And that's what matters most to me. So, that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for bearing with me. And if you found this presentation helpful, informative, do me a huge favor, hit that like button. If I gave you great advice, hit that like button. If I encouraged you to do a mitzvah, hit that like button. If you agreed, disagreed, whatever the case may be, hit that like button. And let's make the world a better place. So, until the next episode, you all take care.